All right. So it is 2 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you, everybody that is joining us live for today's interview. As I mentioned a few months ago, we're starting a bi-weekly webinar series where we're going between interviewing partners of Delta Media Group, employees at Delta Media Group, as well as ongoing product updates to the system. Today's going to be interesting because it's a little bit of both, a employee interview as well as a bit of a product update. So joining me today as our primary interviewee is Michael Meinert, the CEO and owner of Delta Media Group. Many of you on this call may be familiar with Mike. He has been the owner and operator of Delta for over 25 years. And for those of you that are not existing partners, Mike has been running Delta Media Group for decades, as well as other businesses like Properties in Motion, started Property Pursuit, Miracom Design, and Secure Data, and as unique as a business owner with an engineer background. So, Mike, why don't we start there? Give me a little bit of your background and how you came to be involved with Delta Media Group.
Yeah, so happy to do this. Even though I'm not big on the interviews, and you know that, I'd rather just be working behind a computer most of the time. But yeah, I'll give you kind of the background that led me into tech, actually. So my background starts a long time ago, back in the early 80s, where I was just fascinated by tech and had access to computers at the time, which are far different than computers today. They were mainframe computers at the time. But I immediately saw, even when I was pretty young, about the age of probably 12 at the time, just what you could do with computers and how they could automate things. And that's what actually fascinated me even at that age. And, so continue to fast forward a little bit. That's just kind of what drove me to learn software development and just getting into computers in general when I was in high school, predominantly, and even releasing software to do payroll at the time, at least in a handful of states, because at the time payroll was manual. For those of you that are old enough and in business that long, and or management side of things, just automating the side of payroll. And as trivial as that sounds, it was a big deal back then. Today we take a lot of things for granted, but that's what really got me started into tech. And I was heavy into tech, and an opportunity came up to, I guess, buy a tech company out of Silicon Valley in 2000, and ended up acquiring Delta with some business partners at the time. So, yeah, just have always been into tech. And again, just the automation is what fascinated me, and saving time. And uh, that's what drives me even to this day. That's what drives me to this day.
Yeah, so Delta was founded in 1994 and you acquired it early in its lifespan, so you got it in 2000. So what was the real estate tech landscape like when you entered the business in 2000, and how did that kind of shape how you thought about building our platform and what it looks like today?
Well, tech was a lot different back then. And as everybody on here knows, real estate's just different as far as the business goes. Apart from the business world, it's the regular business world. So I would say that the tech within real estate was lagging tremendously. So I did a lot in the corporate world for manufacturers back in the late 90s and into 2000 and in the early 2000s. Did work still for manufacturing companies, which they would always push technology because of what they could automate and what they could do. Now in that world, they were leaving giant product catalogs and going online for support as well. But I guess the parallels with real estate is real estate was way behind, and Realtor.com was big at the time. That's when they did their whole thing, was in the late 90s, and but real estate tech was lagging to say the least. So I can still remember starting to work on in 2000 even, and we launched it in 2001. But even the ability to request a showing online, it was us and Showing Time. We're the only two at the time that I knew were doing it, and so it was just very very basic at the time. It was more just contact forms, and that was about it when I got into tech in the real estate side. So it really worked to bring technology into real estate within the business framework still. So that was a limiting factor quite a bit, is how business is done in the real estate sector.
hmm So we've been around a long time in an industry that's seen a lot of different tech platforms come and go over the years. What's kept you specifically focused on real estate and not moving into other verticals?
Yeah, really good question. I think really what kept me in real estate, if I'm being, I guess, just honest about it, is the way Delta was grown. So we had no funding. We bought the company with our own money and just and grew, bootstrap funded Delta, grew it organically with our cash flow. So we never took on funding. If I'm being honest, had I taken on funding, we would be in other verticals. Our platform's built for other verticals. I don't really talk about that a whole lot, but it is built. You know that, Franklin?
Mhm.
It's built to go into other verticals, just never had the big push to do so historically. But also, real estate's heavily evolving, and I still see it heavily evolving right now with tech. And tech's going to really change things in real estate and how I guess realtors and businesses transact business when buying and selling homes and homeowners, and shoppers. So it's just there's a lot of change that's still going to happen in the real estate space.
Yep, absolutely. And let's talk a little bit more pivoting into AI. So, it's kind of the word of the decade, I believe, when you look at it as a whole. This is going to be the decade of AI. But as you said, Delta's team has been investing in AI for years,
Yeah.
not just since the emergence of ChatGPT. So, in your opinion, what we've been working on for years is AI. What do you call what we've been building versus what most other people would consider AI?
Well, I think you have to. So if I can just take a critical view real quick, for AI in general has been around for a long time. I still view it as just software. I mean, you can make that. Is it agentic yet? Is it, can it really think on its own yet? Or is it still just doing really advanced and really deep pattern matching? That's a good conversation to have right now, and that's debatable, and that's the race right at this moment. But AI has always, I guess, just changed how we could do things, and it changed. It could personalize things. It could save us tremendous amount of time, and we've invested heavily into AI. If you go back a decade. We even did projects with North Carolina State University with their graduate program. We did a year-long project with them. It was an AI project back in 2017 is when we did that. And but some of those early projects, you still had some limits with compute and some different, the cost to do things, and just fundamentally how it could change the business models within the real estate space, just depending on what you were doing with AI. But really, we started really changing what we were using as far as what we were doing internally with AI just over 2 years ago. And we, as an organization, I still remember the meeting. I don't know if you remember it, Franklin, but did a company meeting where I announced, and it was just over 2 years ago now. I announced, hey, we're adopting AI internally. And at the time, I said, within 3 to 5 years, I don't think we'll be employable if you don't know AI. And actually, my thinking changed within just a few short months that I wouldn't hire anybody without AI experience within 6 months of saying that. So AI has changed tremendously, and I think I would phrase it this way: um, until you really understand AI and know how to use it, and when I say use it, to actually deploy things. I'm not talking vibe coding because that's
Mhm.
um, anybody can do that. And it can be extremely dangerous, still is. But uh, anyone that can really use AI to develop for themselves, um, that's when you really understand AI. And and it's, I mean, I guess that's when the journey started was, we'll say 2 years ago. And we had a lot of AI products that, I don't know if you remember this. I know you remember this. We had a lot of AI DeltaNet things that we were going to launch, and I scrapped them all back in 2024 because they were AI features. And I guess that's where I'm going with this is I see a lot still in our space as AI features. Now there's some that aren't that are really doing some neat things with AI, but the vast majority is AI features, and AI property search is one of them. I think there's a good one out there that brokerages can't license, but the majority of what's out there just doesn't work. It's just not good. Somebody tried to launch something that was AI, and it just doesn't work well. But anyhow, I think us deploying AI internally has just changed how we approach it. But it also changes how we iterate with AI then, and how
Mhm.
rapidly you can deploy things. And I don't know, I could keep going on and on about it, but
Well,
yeah.
you actually said something that I want to unpack just a little deeper. You had mentioned that, you're just somebody that's vibe coding, that could be dangerous. And so that's a pretty packed statement. I want to unpack that a little bit. When you talk about that being dangerous, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, it's the joke in July among people that really understood AI is they love vibe coders because they get access to AI tokens, and they could use AI tokens for free then. Ethics aside, it's when you get people that do things because they can, not really knowing what they're doing. And AI in the right hands is a very powerful tool. It would be akin to this. It'd be like me saying anyone without real estate knowledge or understanding the business whatsoever, because of AI, they can go sell real estate now and do it effectively and legally. And everyone on here knows it's not the case. You have to know all the RESPA stuff. AI is still not 100% with RESPA. So it's I think that's really what I mean by it. The other thing
Mhm.
too is this is there's still a lot of issues in the tech space in this industry, especially with APIs. That's been a big push of mine at Delta that we have solid APIs that could be used. But I think it's just the danger of what can be done. But let's not. But there's a lot of good that's being done and can be done as well right now. A ton of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So before we move on to Action Center, I have one last question as relates to AI. Looking back, is there any early bets that you made, like you said, even a decade ago when we were working on some early AI tools? Is there any early bets that's paid off now or is paying off that you didn't expect to matter at the time?
Yeah, yeah. Probably three things. The first one would be my customer for life. That is AI driven. I mean, I would by t today's AI standards, it's not nearly that advanced, but it's still highly effective. It's a highly effective marketing campaign because it's tailored one to one for each recipient. So that's a really good thing that we did, and the strategic approach that we took with it. The other thing was the NCSU study. We were able to validate a lot of things because so here you can do a lot of things that are AI, and AI will tell you you're right. AI will tell you it's the right thing to do. And you have agreement bias with AI, which is a real thing. And AI a lot of times can just be wrong unless you're using it the right way where you're having it validate the data as well. And that's so a lot of what we're doing with AI is still to this day, actually, Action Center, a lot of it's being driven from the results of that study still and the engine from that study. And we're going to expand on that in the future. But it was extremely valuable. And I would say the third thing that you can't undervalue is us adopting AI internally just to do business. And for those of you that really haven't adopted AI heavily, we're not just talking on the software side. Franklin, I'll just use our new website that we just launched today. Didn't plan on saying this, but as an example, the sales team designed it and coded it with Claude Design. Sales team did that. Just had a few meetings over about a month period. And
Hmm.
when I say designed it, it's over 60 internal pages, advanced forms, I mean, data-driven forms, everything. And then the web team took a week to implement it. So it wasn't, so um, adopting AI internally really changes how you do things. I mean, we're even to the point where we're how do I state this so people can understand? We're refactoring our code on a daily basis at this point, and AI is doing it for us. Now we're reviewing it. We won't let it push things. Um, but uh, but yeah, so it drastically changes how you approach AI. So that's why a lot of the things that we're doing with AI right now, Action Center is one of them. We had to do a lot of legwork under the hood to make a lot of things possible that we wanted to do that where we knew that time was well invested. It was time consuming. You hated to do it, but you knew it was the right choice, right decision.
Hmm.
And AI helps do that. I don't know where we'd be without it, actually.
Well, this is a good segue into Action Center. So before I start sharing some of the screenshots that we've prepared to introduce this new exciting tool that we're happy to be sharing today, um, in plain terms, what is Action Center for somebody that's hearing about it for the first time?
Well, let me back up one more step, and I'll tell you where my head's at and what led to Action Center, actually. So where I'm at with Delta right now is currently we have three legs to our stool, as I mentioned it. I say this internally. There's three legs to what we're doing. There's going to be a fourth one coming soon, but there's three legs where, we have to be rock solid on websites, and then we have to be rock solid on lead generation or running ads, that type of thing. And then the third thing was CRM. And where my head's at with that, though, here's what that means is, like, as it relates to website stuff, we're redoing behind the scenes, we're redoing everything so that AI can be implemented in the whole ecosystem of website design, of email marketing. There's some new things coming there where we can use Claude Design can spin up new designs for us, and they're coded, and we drop them in. So there's a lot that so it's doing that in the website area, in the lead generation or ad running area, and then in the CRM area. And if I'm being fully transparent, when I was looking at our CRM stuff, it's not it's okay. It's a very lightweight CRM, and how do you make it so it's really advanced? And a realtor can go into it every day and they literally run their business, but not just a realtor with listings and realtors that are actually getting leads. But what about the realtor that just started yesterday in the business, brand new in the business, just got licensed? Could they go into one dashboard and start running their business? And I use this phrase internally: can they win the day? Can they make progress every single day in their business? But even taking that a step further is, can they do it with the business strategy that they have that's unique to them? And because that's something I'm big on with AI as well, is the, I guess, how AI is tailored to each individual person, so you don't have a cookie cutter AI thing that does the same for everybody. Every single user gets the same AI thing. That makes zero sense, especially with AI today. So Action Center, where my head was at with that was, whether you're doing Ninja or a modified Ninja, or you're doing pick any of the others, any other strategic plan, or your own that you have written up. Here's my strategic plan on how I win business, and grow my business. Can 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 a single dashboard in a CRM take that and help the realtor run their business and grow their business? So that was the whole concept behind Action Center. And I would say this as well. It's really it's going from the, hey, I'm hunting. I have leads coming in. I'm working to close those, or whatever verbiage you want to use, all the way to farming. That how do I, so it's not just Action Center um, is named specifically action. It's getting the realtor to take action, whether they're responding to a lead, doing other activity that's active customer related, or working to actually build the business or market listings. So there's other things to it, but also not overwhelming them. What are the depends on the realtor and the size of their business, but what are the five things they have to do today, or seven, or whatever that number is, um, for that specific realtor. So that was the
Yeah.
concept behind it. Um, but I would say this: I've had this idea for quite a few months, but we've had to really do a lot under the hood to prep for it, and we've done that prep, and we're working on it now.
So good segue, because I'm about to share my screen and I'm going to show you guys on this call, and watching the recording. The initial early, this is still in progress development. So with software development, I always like to give a big disclaimer. Everything is subject to change. So what you're seeing is
Yeah.
work in progress software development.
Well,
Uh,
I guarantee it will change, and I'll explain that.
so
Um, and this is and actually what Franklin will be showing, we took screenshots of the current dev system. Um, and Franklin did block out some information there because we were doing this against some live data,
Mhm.
just to see. Um, but basically the whole concept of Action Center, again, this is AI driven. Um, so it's AI driven, but it also prioritizes things. So right now we have six sections planned. We've done the first two, and the first two are like, the first one's processing leads. So that's obviously, if a realtor has a lead, they need to process that, but process it um, using the right information, not just process it. But then the second section is, what active customers do they have that are in, like the ones that are really active, they should be touching, depends on what they're doing, these customers are doing and where they're at in their pipeline. But where they should be doing something with them every day, every 2 days, every 3 days again, and that can vary on the strategic plan they're following. Um, but one thing with these two screenshots you're seeing here is, and actually go back to the other screenshot if you don't mind, Franklin,
Mhm.
is it's this isn't just processing a lead in these cases. This is there's suggestions from AI based on what the customer's done, based on what the realtor has done with the customer in the system, if anything, based on all these different data points and different activities that are being tracked and monitored, and and the action that's being recommended will be different on a per person basis. So while a lot of it might be very similar, it will be different, it will be tailored. And then even if a realtor would go to email somebody back, it's hey, here's the email already. It's a pre-populated email for them, but it's in their voice. And the response isn't just in the realtor voice, but it's in the context of the customer and what they're doing, and a strategy to it as well. I don't want to get too much deeper on that at this point,
Mhm.
but there's a strategy to it. So it's not just blind activity, I guess. There's a reason why we're recommending, or AI is recommending certain activity out of all the activity it could recommend being done to that customer is the best way I can phrase that. Um, and you can see it's kind of hard to read on these screenshots here, but even the suggested next steps, again, these are all tailored, to that individual customer and what they've done, what they're doing, what they're not doing as well. Because I will say this, in in the um, in the NCSU study that we did, and the AI engine that we ended up with from that, um, there are certain behaviors that are very important, that literally do lead to transactions. So I won't disclose what they are, but we know clearly that if a customer does certain things in the system, um, or if they take certain action on what the system is doing with them, that they will most likely transact. So it's um, yeah. So that's what this all
Mhm.
this is based on. Um, and again,
Yeah.
this is a single dashboard. We're only showing the first two sections here because that's the only two that we were focused on initially, just to get these out the door, see what they and these are focused on realtors that are doing business. I mean, that's the best way to put it. So these are the realtors that have listings, they have customers, they have a active pipeline going. The sections, 3 through 6, especially 4 through 6, will start going into the brand new realtor, that hasn't really done much of anything. Well, if anything, honestly, is the best way to put that.
Yeah, so let me categorize this and just talk specifically about this feature a little bit more before we get back to the interview. Which, for those of you on this call that are active customers, Action Center is essentially for upgraded agents, and it almost operates as a replacement for the old Customer Center. For those of you that are longtime clients, that would go to the Customer Center page in DeltaNet 5.6, and it's kind of a ramped up version of that with a lot of extra functionality that's coming, to Mike's point. But I want to tie something Mike said earlier into this. So upgraded users that are using the DeltaNet AI assistant have created their own profile, their own AI profile that's stored on their account. And that AI profile does things like understand the realtor's core audience, their core market, what makes their area unique, their voice. So it factors that into these prompts, and that information on that agent's AI profile will become relevant even within Action Center, because not only is the AI here saying, and this first example, Erin is interacting with a Safe Search email she received. Here's what she's doing and why we're recommending that. That AI created email or template that may be created is going to take that agent's AI voice into that as well. So it's kind of multiple layers of AI that are happening within the Action Center.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
to Mike's point earlier,
Yeah, let me
oh,
add
go
something
ahead.
to that though, Franklin, because this is its own standalone. I mean, this isn't like anything we've done ever before. So even though you could say it's replacing something from DeltaNet 6. I mean, that's like saying, I guess, Claude Fable replaces the first version of Claude. I mean, it's so this is exponentially different, and this is a single dashboard. And I should add something too. We all these AI actions and AI, I don't want to, I mean, I guess I could call them skills, but basically the AI actions that we have dozens of them already. We've been playing with this type of stuff for months. I mean, it's been months. And we were doing it with a chatbot. So we have an AI chatbot in the DeltaNet. We've had it for I don't know how many months, Franklin. Six. I mean, a long time. We've had an AI chatbot. We've been just playing with and tinkering with. But honestly, I don't think realtors will if a realtor will chat with a chatbot in a CRM, we might as well just connect up the CRM to an AI engine and let them just use whatever AI they want. I mean, it's just, but realtors aren't that advanced. They're salespeople with relationship skills, not the data analyst skills, or really what to do next, or why, or any of those things. So, well, I loved what we were doing on a tech side with the AI chatbot and all the recommended things it would do. I just even in my conversations with highly successful realtors here locally, they just they wouldn't know what to do. I'd be in a coffee shop in the morning and show the chatbot to a realtor, and they're like, what am I supposed to do with this?" um,
Yeah, and I
so
want to go a little deeper on our approach to this. And you are a big champion of human in the middle, whereas a
yeah,
lot of our competitors are kind of chasing this agentic, let the AI run your business completely for you. Talk
yeah.
to me a little bit about your champion mindset of human in the middle with everything between the realtor and their contacts.
Yeah. So um, AI is still heavily evolving, although it's albeit very rapidly right now. But the human in the middle approach is I'm still a proponent of that. I do see I keep saying a 7x realtor. I think we'll be there by potentially by this time next year, where due to AI, realtors can be 7 times as productive. It will be the ones that do embrace tools similar to this, and they'll be doing it in less time. And so but the other part to this too is everything you're seeing here, all these different actions and different things that are being done. We also took an approach that we're not dependent or locked into any single AI engine. So we can swap in and out different AI models and engines for different tasks and even steps in tasks at any time. So like here, so just in the past day, Grok released 4.6, so we'll be evaluating it and saying, okay, is it better? Sometimes a better model sometimes is worse, at a task than it was before. It happens quite a bit actually, but it becomes much better at other tasks. So, in many cases, some of the things that we're doing, we might be using Grok to do one port to analyze the data, and then Claude to um, do anyhow. I don't want to get in the weeds of it, but we're using different AI engines to do for different parts of the tasks. The other thing I would say too is you're going to see things beef up a lot on even the agent profile side of things, or because yeah, Franklin, you mentioned we have that profile. And that's going to be changing a lot and expanding quite a bit, just to get in the weeds of how that realtor talks, because um, it's just much better if you do. I mean, it's just the quality of the responses and how tailored it is to the individual realtor is much better.
Absolutely. So the goal again for this, before I move back into the interview, is the all the AI tools that we've got within the DeltaNet are not going to be interacting with your customers without your oversight. What we've
No.
done is essentially used all the data we have to let that data tell a story to the realtor when they log in to see, hey, you need to be reaching out to Liza. Here's why, and here's a pre-created template with the recommended actions that you can review and then take quickly. So it's to increase the productivity of the sales associate. And we won't get into the weeds on it today, but those of you looking at the screenshots will see we've even got progress where we're tracking the activity of the realtors, doing more gamification of it, getting streaks active to encourage that good sales
Yeah.
behavior of logging into the action center, paying attention to your clients that are active, being on top of your leads, and then having even like leaderboards to see which realtors are being productive and engaging with these tools. So we really expect this to be a big, significant leap to the CRM activity within the DeltaNet. And as always, it works on desktop. This is just a quick screenshot of a work in progress of the Action Center in mobile. So of course everything's going to be mobile responsive, and you'll be able to take all those same actions that you can on desktop. All that same functionality will carry through into the mobile version of the Action Center.
Yeah, and can I just say something though too on as it relates to AI? We're truly in an era, even though it's a human in the middle approach. If a recommendation is being made, it's all already pre-populated. So even if we're recommending, hey, they have a new listing alert set up, but they're really broad, and the only ones they're interacting with are in this price range. So maybe narrow it down for them. So and it's pre, and all they have to do is hit submit or send a message, or there's other components coming to they're becoming to I guess to the workflow of this, when we launch Action Center. So, but the other thing I would say, and I just kind of wrap up the Action Center piece with this, is it's done in such
Mhm,
a way so that we do rapid iteration. So
mhm,
I don't know what it'll look like here as we start moving forward with getting feedback and change, and requests for changes. But we are at the point we're iterating so quickly. We're we're trying to slow it down a little bit internally. But if we get a whole list of feedback items for Action Center, they could be deployed probably that day. So it's but anyhow, yeah.
So we have planned the first two of the planned 6 blocks within Action Center. How early are clients going to be able to start getting their hands on the first two components of Action Center?
Yeah, so we're really close to a beta. I'll be reviewing that Monday or Tuesday. It would have been today, but I have this webinar. Uh, so Monday or Tuesday, I'll be reviewing where we're at with that, and just making sure it's at a spot where we could launch it into a beta for select clients that want to try it. Again, the focus will be realtors that are doing business is really what we're looking at. But as we're getting that, we're shifting to phase two, which are additional sections. Um, and I don't know how quick we will iterate after that. It could be very, very quickly, but we don't want to push the envelope too much either,
Mhm.
with all the changes coming. But we're talking just a matter of just weeks, not months on these changes or new sections. So yeah.
Great. Outside of Action Center, where else is AI already showing up inside of the DeltaNet that agents and staff might be using without even realizing that those AI tools are in play?
Well, we even have some stuff that they don't realize we're doing that's SEO and GEO related with AI. But uh, so really, we deployed the AI through just basic areas of the system, just to see what get used, comments on a listing, just different things like that, just all throughout the system. Um, once we're getting more use in uh, Action Center and we see how it's being used and what realtors are doing, what the feedback is, um, then we're going to be making a lot of changes all throughout the DeltaNet. But I'll be honest with you, I really think that for a realtor using the DeltaNet as a CRM, they will live in Action Center. And we're even to the point that we're doing just I don't want to talk about things that we're looking at doing, but we are looking from a CRM perspective. Hey, what would drive a realtor to use another platform that is maybe, twice the cost of what we're using just for the CRM portion, but there might be one or two features that they're predominantly using over there. We can do those, especially with AI now. So it's, um, y- you know, so so yeah, it's all going to be all through the DeltaNet, but really it's just where it makes sense to do it. Um,
Mhm,
where we're seeing utilization in the platform itself. I do see. I think most of it will be related to marketing
mhm.
content. I can tell you this: when I mentioned the website side of things, um, probably just a few months will be to a point where our customers will be able to use Claude Design. We'll provide them with an MD file that defines our platform, and they could design an agent theme in using AI, and it's implemented.
Well,
um,
that's exciting. And to
where
give you guys
I
on the call like a little bit of
yeah,
a taste of it, that's what we've deployed already in Delta
it's
Create Studio, where you can create AI marketing assets within Create Studio. So
yeah,
gives you a
yeah.
little
So
bit of
it's
an idea.
there's some stuff we're using internally that we haven't released yet that is very very good. I mean, it's just Even the web developers that get it, they're like, oh my gosh, like I'm shocked.
Exciting. That is
Yeah.
exciting stuff. So, pivoting a little bit out of AI and more so into the all-in-one versus kind of best-in-class approach that's been a hot topic that we see in the real estate tech sector for years and years. There's been a long-running debate about if it's best to go an all-in-one approach or stitch together best-in-class point solutions. What do you think is changing about that conversation today? Is AI a part of that, or kind of what's your general thoughts on that?
So, so my opinion is, I don't think I don't think you're going to see much change as far as what companies want to do or what people want to do with, okay, here's a I don't even know where the best in breed approach came. It's just because most that's budget. What do you have how much you're willing to pay for something. I will say this is if I owned a real estate company, I would be leaning in on the all-in-one side, and I'm going to tell you why, which is why we've leaned into it. Um, there are some things that we're doing with AI and with the Action Center that you can't do if you're a standalone system. If you're a you cannot have some of the important data points that are critical to knowing how serious someone is in a transaction without being integrated with other systems. 100%. This was one of my driving factors to get transaction data integrated into our platform. It was because where I saw AI was going with what we were doing in 2016 and 17. That's why the big push to get, so I could see the activity happening on the transaction side. Um, so it's the other thing I'll say too is I know I mentioned this earlier, but this industry is just terrible. The integrating with other providers is a royal pain. The APIs that are out there are just terrible, not documented, broken. And I know, I'm not going to claim to have perfection or the perfect API for our platform, but we've focused on it for the past over a year, and there's still a lot of work going into it, 100% because of AI. Because I saw what you could do with AI, and that's what I want. Um, so,
Yep.
you know,
And I want to ask you a question a little deeper on that point too.
yeah.
What's the risk brokerages don't see if they keep piecing together those disconnected tools? Like, what's the risk that the brokerages run into if they're doing that?
I don't know if the brokerage themselves has risk. I think the realtor is the ones doing the transactions do, because I still don't see how you get a complete picture that's timely enough and complete enough using separate systems. I just and here's why I say that because um, if you're deep into AI, the rate at which change is happening today is astronomical. I mean, I can't believe it. And you're going to start seeing that rate of change in real estate tech. It's kind of been slow go up to this point. Um, but uh, but I will tell you this, for those that saw the video that I did on the AI property search stuff, we haven't launched anything. We developed that in a day with AI, but we have been doing we've been doing the prep work to be able to do that with underlying systems. So it's pretty solid. I mean, I've tested all of them out there. There's one other that's decent, like I said before, but it's on another system, and I'm not talking homes.com. So anyhow, I just think it's going to get harder and harder to keep up with the rate of change and pace with what's happening.
So, if you're a broker owner right now trying to figure out your tech strategy over the next couple of years, what questions do you think they should have top of mind and be asking vendors?
So honestly, I think it's their AI, what they're doing with AI internally, but I don't know how many would answer it honestly. It's just I just say that because once you understand AI that much, what you can do with it is crazy. I mean, we're to the point where AI analyzes our log files on our web servers. It does a pull from the repo for us. It makes changes. It pushes the changes not to live, but it pushes them for testing, and we go through and test them. And to give you we had nearly there was over 3,000 files refactored in 2 days with AI just doing it. So it's now so compare that to a company saying, "Oh, I want to develop something. I want to launch an AI feature," and they're not that. It's just I would really want to know where the organization is, um, just in general, because I know I keep talking about development, but we're doing the same thing over with sales. You know that, Franklin, with marketing that we're doing, with support, with I even have an AI skill where some weeks I'll track that my skill's doing over 400 hours worth of CEO work for me, which frees me up to do other things. Um, so that's what I would want to know is what's the organization doing with AI internally? Forget
Mhm.
about product because
Yep.
the product is a byproduct of what they're doing.
Well, and so just to share a little bit, again, in the interest of transparency with those that are on this call, our company mission statement, our motto is we automate to elevate life. So how
Yeah.
did you land on that? What's kind of driving us as we look to the future and what we're doing? How does that play in to the ethos of Delta?
So here's I heard it on a podcast. I thought, wow, that's what I'm feeling. So number one, I've always felt that way. When I first saw tech at 12 years old, and like, oh, I could, look what you can automate with us. Um, but I heard somebody say it is we're in an era with AI. For those that are really adopting AI, you'll find yourself in a rut. And I found myself in a rut with AI where and here's the rut that I was in. I had adopted AI so much at the CEO level. And I'm sitting technically in three seats: CEO, president, and CTO. And and I don't want to give any of them out. But I had built skills all around those. So as I'm doing work, I have all these ideas. I'm feeding those ideas to my Claude skill that I've built for each seat, and I literally found myself like, what do I do? Like it's doing so much work, and I'm having it correct work when I see some things I don't like. I have it challenge me on my thoughts. But here's the new wave of what's happening is okay, use AI to do your work and to save so much time, but don't just let that time get filled with nothing. Use it to start developing your skills. Use it to and it was an analogy from a writer or an author. And this author said, "Okay, I used to do all this writing, these books and these articles, and I don't have to do them anymore." But it freed her up to start getting back into poetry. And so she was actually got back into writing poetry, which she didn't have time to do. And she's like, it developed her skills so much more for writing. And then she even updated her profile for AI so that it would incorporate some of her new skills. So I think it frees you up to do more of what you want to do at that or should want to do at that, whatever you're doing. Um, and then relating, and there's so many parallels you could do with, especially business owners on here versus a realtor. Um, it can free up time to focus on the business. You're not busy dealing with all that stuff all the time or creating business plans or whatever. Um, so I think that's the biggest thing.
And so to kind of close us out here, what's the one thing you would want to have as a takeaway for we have realtors on this call, we have company owners, we have CTOs, CMOs, such a wide range of attendees. Is there any one thing you could kind of pinpoint that if you've stuck with us, you've watched this interview, what do you want to have as the key takeaway as they leave today's call?
I think here's my biggest thing is you cannot comprehend where AI is today unless you're actually using it. And when I s- and I'm not, and maybe this is I shouldn't say that, but I'm not even talking about using any of the AI stuff we have. I'm talking about actually using AI to do your job. So I said this to a bunch of realtors a few weeks ago, a couple, 2, 3 weeks ago, building an AI skill for yourself. Believe it or not, we have internal AI skills that are realtor skills to give us feedback. Realtor skills that focus on like, hey, it's a ninja realtor. It's and here, how would you use this? What wouldn't you like about this? So, but a realtor or even a business owner just starting to use some of the things that are out there, and because I know business owners predominantly don't have the time or and have no clue how far along AI is. They just hear what they hear from tech people or what's in the news, and you're seeing 1% of it. So I think that's the biggest thing is start using actual AI to do work and to create a skill. Or if you're on Chat GPT, what do they call it, custom GPT or something like that. I'm not. I know. I know we use Chat GPT. I don't personally, but yeah, it's. I think that's the biggest thing is just doing that in the business side, and even just people that aren't tech and just business owners and operators having a skill built for their seat. It really changes how you look at AI and what you can do with it.
Absolutely. And just keep, for everybody that's watched and learned about Action Center, keep an eye on our communications. There's going to be a lot more that we share about it in the coming 1 to 2 months. So keep an eye out for updates. And to kind of close us out with today's webinar, I did promise on our last live conversation that we were starting and kicking off an agent and team website competition, and that we would be announcing the winners for those of you that took the time to customize your Delta Media Group websites through our modular theme platform. We've been releasing new website designs over the course of this year. We've launched over 20 new designs into our agent theme platform. And so I'm announcing as our three core winners, we have got an agent with Coldwell Banker American Homes, as well as a team with Levin Rinke, as well as a team with Adams Cameron. And we'll be sending out all sorts of social media posts this afternoon and tomorrow where you guys will be able to link over and check out those websites. And again, thank you to the admins, agents, and teams that took the time to customize those sites and send them along to us. And beyond that, we are going to be having a conversation next week, same time. So next Thursday, August 20th at 2 p.m. Eastern, I'll be doing an interview with a Delta Media Group partner, Chris Manteria, who is the Chief Technology Officer at Coldwell Banker American Homes. They have over 1,000 agents in Long Island and are one of the largest Coldwell Banker organizations in the country. And Chris has got a really great mind for AI, and what they've done to customize their DeltaNET environment is incredible. So we're really excited to share that. Please register. You'll find a link to register for that webinar and the follow-up email that runs with this recording. If you are not a Delta Media Group customer and you'd like to chat, you can reach out to us at sales@deltagroup.com. We've got great promotions to get you up and running with as quickly as 5 business days with some great looking turnkey website designs. And if you're an existing partner and you're looking at your website and you think it's time for an upgrade, we've got some great promotions there. You can reach out to me directly or sales@deltagroup.com, and we can talk about our 2026 catalog of designs. And beyond that, thank you everybody for taking time out of your busy schedules to join Mike and I today. And we will see you next time. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks.